All right, everybody. Buckeye Nation, how we feeling after number 3 Ohio State takes down number 1 Texas, reclaiming the throne as number 1 team in America, defending the horseshoe. Wow, what a performance from the Ohio State defense as well as many others on the offense. How about the performances from the quarterbacks, Rob? I mean, how did you come away feeling from Mr. Heisman hype, Arch Manning, bro?
Yeah, so after that Jermaine Matthews interception, they
Yeah,
zoomed in on Arch Manning sitting on the bench,
sure.
and he looked really defeated. Now, I made the prediction of whichever quarterback made the least mistakes in the game, that team would win.
Mm-hmm.
And the quarterback that made the least mistakes, it wasn't his fault that his wide receivers dropped some good passes, but the
Yeah,
quarterback made the least
same.
mistakes was Julian Sane. Arch Manning just looked completely rattled
Yeah,
from what Matt Patricia was throwing at him all game. And college football fans want to say that, oh, you can't give credit to Matt Patricia and Ohio State's defense for the inaccurate throws. But to me, I believe the inaccurate throws were from Matt Patricia's
yeah,
defense being inside Arch Manning's head. I mean, that what he did, those blitz packages. I mean,
yeah.
Arvell Reese literally. So what happened was Arvell Reese looked the other way, acting like he was dropping back. The
Yeah.
uh the offensive
Nothing.
lineman keyed in another defender. Right when
Yep.
that happened, he went for the he blitzed.
Went right by him for the sack.
Went
Yep. A
right by
delayed
for the
blitz,
sack, dude.
man.
That's elite level play calling. And dude, he had Caleb Downs crowding the line the entire time. Like what he did clearly got inside Arch Manning's head. He looked again, he didn't look composed. He looked defeated. Yeah, he
Sure.
had that, touchdown at the end, but overall, it was not remotely close to a good it was a terrible
Yeah.
game for him. I mean, let's look at the stat line, dude. 17 for 30. That's
Mm-hmm.
56% completion
Right.
percentage. Um one TD, which questionable. One interception. Again, that interception is when he just looked defeated, man. His QBR 58.0.
It's
So,
pretty rough.
he fell short of what SEC talking head Paul Feinbaum was hyping him up to be, just completely short. But will
And he
will
wasn't
he
the only one coming away disappointed. The entire nation had already crowned Arch the number 1 pick, the Heisman winner, but he had a couple of false starts. There were 3 of them in the contest. Let's give credit and respect to Ohio Stadium for showing up and showing out in a big noon kickoff. Um, Also, we didn't let him get settled. Now we didn't get a lot of organic pressure, but those linebacker blitzes that you mentioned kept him leery of where is the pressure going to come from. And it's just amazing. He did have some inerrant and accurate throws, but that was a product of what Matt Patricia was showing him, and he could not figure it out. He's not that level yet, man. He's not that level.
I mean, even Sark, even Steve Sarkisian said Matt Patricia's play defensive play calling was at an elite level. I mean, really good disguised blitz packages, dude. Like
Yeah,
he didn't have time to process what was coming, and it showed. And again, to me, that's what led to just the rest of the inaccurate throws, dude. He was
yeah.
just too worried about what was being thrown at him rather than being able to process the plays in a timely manner and being able to be calm, cool, and collective and make those pretty much throws. I mean, he was looking like Kyle McCord at times, dude. Just rattled, nervous, and just not ready for the moment.
He certainly was rattled, not only by the noise, they couldn't hear, they couldn't communicate. But another thing I wanted to point out was his throwing motion is just it's odd. It's very obscure. And I don't know how that wasn't coached out of him by his uncles or by Steve Sarkisian
He's got a
or
sidearm, dude.
or somebody else, but It is a funky throwing motion. He entered the fourth quarter with 38 yards passing, dude. Texas had 0 points on the board with 7 minutes to go in the football game. I never anticipated that, despite predicting you and I both a defensive battle and offenses to struggle. I never would, in my wildest dreams, would have predicted Arch Manning had 38 yards passing entering the fourth. And like you mentioned, he finished with 177. He had a couple of nice throws in the late fourth quarter. That one to the tight end up the left sideline was an absolute dot. But they were so far and few in between, bro,
Yeah.
that he's just he fell from first to fifth in the Heisman odds.
But
How
let's
about
get
Julian saying though?
yeah, I was about to say, let's get to that. Dude, Julian's saying, before the season started, before the first game, when Julian's saying, like, a little after Julian Sane was named the starting quarterback, Ryan Day basically said, "Hey, we don't need you to be special. We need you to win games. We need you to do your job." And he did his job, dude. It's not his fault that, Max Clare dropped that fourth down pass. That was right on the money, dude. You couldn't have asked for a better throw. And then the throw to Brandon
Yep,
Innes. You couldn't have asked for a better throw. Brandon Innes dropped it, and Jeremiah Smith dropped some passes too. Now,
sure.
Sane did a great job protecting the ball, being able to, digest what was being thrown at him, being able to read the defenses, and obviously 0 interceptions. He
Yep.
made, I mean, he did miss Jeremiah Smith one-on-one, but he did make up for it
Yeah.
throwing that touchdown to
Pe-
Carnell Tate.
People are really getting on him for that. And yes, but on a 4th and 1, the throw to Claire, one, it was perfect. It was right on the money. You don't
Exactly.
need to go for a home run on 4th and 1. Go for the easier pass, the easier connection. But Claire unfortunately let him down on that. And he still completed 13 of 20 passes for 126 yards with those 4 drops. And the biggest thing to me, it wasn't obviously statistically that looks like a downgrade, and it's like, oh man, wow, rough first outing. But one, who plays Texas in their first game as a starter, and two, he kept his composure, man. He was calm and confident. He wasn't tripping at his teammates for all the drops they had, and he just remained focused and clear headed, and that is huge for a quarterback. So with his demeanor, very impressed.
Yeah, for someone's first star, dude. I mean, don't look so much at the fact that, let's look at the stats real quick. He was
Yeah,
13 for
13 of 20,
20.
126, one touchdown.
Yeah, 65% completion rate. His
Yep,
QBR was
65% with those
70.
4 drops.
Yeah, it was 74.5 QBR. I mean, he
Hmm.
he pretty much did what he needed to do to get the one, but again, he's not getting much credit. So, I mean, I just apparently beating the number one team in the nation just wasn't good enough. Now, however,
Just
I will say that I was disappointed that Ohio State couldn't capitalize more on those fourth down stops, be able to sustain a drive and
sure.
march down the field at times. I will say that does worry me a bit. But again, it's game one. Two really good defenses, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like but just saying that after they pretty much said, "Oh, this is a done deal for Texas. Arch Manning's gonna win the Heisman. Texas is gonna win the national championship." And now all of a sudden, Texas is trash. Arch Manning's trash. They may not even be a playoff team, dude. It does. Like, dude, give Matt Patricia his flowers, dude.
Yeah.
I will say that I was really worried about the Matt Patricia hire and heading in this game, but dude, he exceeded expectations. People don't
Mhm.
realize like truly what he did. I mean, he's been out of college for quite some time. And the fact
Over
that
20 years.
he came in and put together I mean, this defensive play calling performance, that's
Hmm.
phenomenal. Now, I will say what's suspect is the defensive run game. I mean, if they don't get that together,
Yeah.
man, they lose to Penn State, they lose to Michigan. They don't get that together.
Yeah, there's certainly concerns coming out of this contest. One last thing on the offense before I comment on what you just said on the defense. We had 4 drives start inside our 10-yard line, and 2 of them were inside the 2-yard line. Unfortunately, in that situation with a young quarterback, especially with as good as your defense is playing, you're not going to risk turnovers. You don't have the whole playbook inside your 10-yard line. And you're not going to risk the whole playbook and forcing a turnover when you're in complete control in the contest. And so that limited our offense a little bit too. Only 203 yards of offense for the day. But you have to factor in that component where our drive started to compare to where their drive started. They had short fields all game. And
They couldn't do nothing.
to your point with the defense, to hold them to 3.5 quarters in a shutout when they started most of their drives at their own 45-yard line or closer is a remarkable defensive performance.
And to that point, dude, it's pretty much this red zone goal line defense left off where since like the semifinals of the playoff game, dude,
Speaking truth,
against Texas, pretty much duplicated, but a whole entire new defensive line, man.
it was
It's
amazing.
it's crazy, dude.
I guarantee, I said this in my quick recap yesterday, but I guarantee Texas was motivated to not let that specific situation, goal to go and be denied again, happen again. And it happened twice. Happened twice yesterday.
Yeah, but one more thing about the Ohio State's offense, dude.
Sure.
Big shout out to the offensive line, man, in terms of pass protection. Colin
Nope.
Simmons didn't eat. Nobody ate. I don't think Sane got sacked once.
0 sacks, homie.
There was like
0.
one pressure, dude.
Yeah.
Against that defensive line, again, was being deemed one of the just this deep defensive line that was going to be the best in the nation.
Yep. They're getting talked up, weren't they? Now, they were very stout against the run, but in pass pro, Ohio State held their own and then some. Very impressed with the pass protection from the O-line.
Man, dude, Colin Simmons, man, I remember
He
when
was a
Jalen
no-show.
Sane was named the starter, and he posted a picture of Sane on his Instagram story, and just like, you didn't do much, man. You said you had him on your radar, that he was a target. You were ready to eat. You didn't even get one sack, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
buddy.
I'm pretty sure that, dude, he got this. There's this one play. I think he got blocked by Ennis. It was either it was the tight end or one of the wide receivers that did well in pass protection against Colin Simmons, which was pretty impressive, man. So
Yeah, it was impressive. But speaking of the run game, man, like how do you feel moving forward with that? Do you think that was a product of Texas's D line being so effective, or our run game going back to being ineffective again?
one thing we got to look at is the first touchdown. I mean, that was based primarily on the run game. They
Sure.
did sustain that drive through the run game. But also, I mean, dude, like, there were times where they needed to sustain a drive, and the run game was called upon, and they just couldn't deliver. And to me, that is a problem, dude. Like, a big problem. I wasn't overly impressed,
Mm-hmm.
because just like, I mean, well, let me look at the stat line for
We had
Ohio.
77 yards rushing
Yeah, dude. Like,
total.
well, actually, 89 yards rushing.
Oh, it finished with 89.
Yeah, Donaldson got 67. Peoples got 20. Saying got 2. Who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Well,
dude.
to your
What?
point, man, those short yardage situations look like they're going to be tough to convert again, don't they?
Yeah, and that's the hard part, dude.
That's
Because
troubling.
like, if you're at the goal line and you're trying to get that push into the
Yeah.
end zone, you can't be having
He,
these malfunctions, dude,
he
with the run game in terms of the offensive line.
even on that touchdown, bro, the dude shot the gap and was
Oh
right
yeah,
there to make the play, but just didn't make it.
yeah, dude. I mean,
Donaldson, I got a little crow to eat with Donaldson. Now, he was obviously our lead back and our bell cow yesterday. Um, but he impressed me with his tenacity, and so I respect that. And hopefully, he can build upon that performance. But yeah, I really expect a lot more from James Peoples, man. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, short yardage situation. The first one we had to that point, Day passed on that one. That was that drop by Claire. Instead of going for it on the 4th and 1 through the ground game, he opted to pass.
yeah,
And as we saw throughout the game and throughout the contest, there might be a decent reason why he chose to do that, unfortunately.
yeah, man. It's just I give Day credit though. I mean, he's like I said, man. He had some growing pains. He's a
Yeah.
young head coach who's trying to figure it out, and
He,
I believe he's truly figured it out, man. I mean, if you look at the teams that they faced in the playoffs,
sure.
I mean, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, all top 5, top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm.
The season opener with a new OC, a new DC, a new quarterback, a pretty much new defensive line. That that's remember, I said that this game will lie on coaching and execution, and
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State did the better job. They did. I mean,
Without question.
I said that I said the game would come down to that, and because Texas kept their staff intact, Texas would win. And I was wrong, man. You you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta give Ohio State their flowers in this situation, dude. Especially Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
But
Dog.
I will say, man, I am somewhat worried about Brian Hartline, dude. But then again, it's Ryan Day's. It will always be Ryan Day's offense. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, questions definitely remain there for sure. He's going to have to grow into being a play caller. It's just not something, it's something you can only do and learn by doing it. It's not something you can be taught. You have to learn in the situations what works, what doesn't work. And that changes every year as personnel changes. But respect today, his sixth straight AP top 10 victory in a row. That was a huge talking point last year. They could not win the big game. And everybody in the national media dogged him. I would say 80% of national pundits that don't work for Fox picked Texas in this contest. And now a lot of them are backtracking, not wanting to give credit to Ohio State. We're going to be number one in the nation, folks, and you got to deal with it. And there's not too many teams between now and Penn State in November. They're going to have a chance to knock us off. Washington and Illinois are on that mantra. But with that win yesterday, an unexpected win, even for us, we're going to be number one for quite a while, most
yeah,
likely.
it was funny because I went on Twitter uh, after the game, and Paul Feinbaum tweeted out, "Here's the call-in number for the show for this show."
I bet you're
Dude, I
tempted
mean,
almost.
dude, as long as he's willing to answer for, pretty much all the narrative he put out there about Arch Manning and,
Sure.
Quinn Ewers was out and Arch Manning was in, they would have beaten Ohio State. Dude, as long as he's willing to own up and answer that, like respect. And just the fact that he put the Colin show number out there on Twitter just shows
That's
that
pretty funny.
he's willing to do that, man. But dude,
Yeah.
what's crazy to me, dude, I wonder if Texas fans are missing Quinn Ewers, the very quarterback that they booed out of the state of Texas after that
They have to
semifinal
be.
loss, dude. They
They
got him,
absolutely have to
man.
be. Getting back to your point though about the defense and being slightly worried about how we did get run on, man. Wisner averaged 5 yards a pop.
Yeah,
Baxter
dude.
averaged 4 yards a carry, and yet they didn't stick to it for some reason. And I'm thankful they didn't.
Yeah, it would have been all. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Thank God. I mean, for some reason, Sark is like, "Hey, we're gonna try to beat him through the air."
Yeah.
but but yeah,
Those
man. I
outside
mean,
runs were killing us, bro.
yeah, dude. That type of run defense will not hold up against Katron Allen, Nick Singleton. I mean, dude, even Justice Haynes, man, dude. I hate to say, man, dude balled out 156 yards, 3
Mhm.
touchdowns, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just it won't hold up against. And I was also looking at Washington and Illinois. It seems like their identity is run as well.
Oh,
So
Illinois absolutely loves pounding the rock.
so it's just like, dude, like
There's
they got to get that figured out.
That's going to be a big challenge. And as we talked about leading into the game, obviously Texas had four new starters on the offensive line, and they seem to get their way. Now a lot of times, to me, and maybe you can correct me on this, but a lot of times it seemed like we kind of penned them up in the middle, and then they had to bounce it outside, but they found success. Or later in the game, they started designing it to the outside. And so it seems like they were penned up, but there's nobody cleaning up the play, nobody to finish the play, and that's a problem. That actually brings to mind the run last year from Mullins, who was penned up and stopped by 3 or 4 Ohio State defenders in the backfield, and then squirted outside and got about 35 yards to set up the game-winning field goal for the Wolverines last year. But we're not going to focus on that now. Michigan is
Yeah.
all the way on November 29th, but definitely things to clean up. Like my question to you is, how do you feel coming out of week one? There's a lot of people discrediting us in this victory for some reason, but how do you feel moving forward? Obviously, 2 easy games coming up, but what does this win do for your confidence in this 2025 Buckeye squad?
The team can only get better from here, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like there's no way they don't get worse, dude.
yeah,
There's no way they get worse. I I
yep,
just I just don't, unless there's injuries or I don't know, man. Again, like my main concern was Matt Patricia, and he exceeded
mm-hmm.
expectations. Just elite play calling, man. Say what you want. Say, oh, Arch had a bad game, but dude, again, I think Matt Patricia's, the scheme that he was calling, I think he really got into Arch's head and threw him off, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
There's reasons he played poorly, and Matt Patricia played a big role in that. For me, I'm not going to say this like skyrockets my confidence, because as we've talked about in this game, Julian Sayin has things to clear up. Our run game needs to get going, and our run defense needs to improve. But
yeah,
when you beat the number one team in the nation, it definitely is a confidence booster. I'm not saying we're a national title favorite now. There are definite weaknesses or flaws in this 25 team, but everyone has flaws. And it's encouraging because we both did predict a loss, and to come out victorious in the horseshoe and to do so dominantly on the defensive side of things, that's pretty awesome, because we lost 9 starters on defense.
yeah. I mean,
Arvell Reese, one more time about him, bro. Unbelievable stud of it. Dude is a monster, both in tackles for losses and in quarterback blitzes. And I'm excited to see what this Ohio State defense really comes into, because we're not going to face offenses with that amount of skill on it. And to perform that well was highly encouraging.
I mean, dude, people want to say that they just see people look too much at offense because they want to say, "Oh, I wasn't very impressed with Ohio State and Texas." How about it being just a great defensive game, dude? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think any of the offenses performed over the top. I just think one of
Well,
the offenses, the quarterback, did their job and did what they needed to do to get their team to win. That's all.
yep,
And that's all
absolutely.
Ryan Day asked of Julian saying.
He managed the game so well, and the moment was not too big for him, where it clearly was, as you mentioned, for Arch. Moment was far too big. And
Yeah,
that's pretty funny to see.
definitely, man.
Um, well, obviously next week we got Grambling State. Not going to learn too much from that game.
No.
Obviously, things to tinker on and things to explore, and kind of a fun game and a reset. But wow, to win this game after the whole nation was against us, that fires me up a little bit. So,
Yeah. First test won't be until the end of September when they travel to Washington to
yep,
take on
you double
Husky.
weights in Seattle.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
man.
test, man. It's definitely a trap game. But that's gonna do for this one. Go Bucks and God bless. We'll see you on the next one.
OH.
I